He wasn't born with privilege. No famous last name. No massive college behind him. Just a boy from South Carolina with a fire in his eyes and a ball in his hands. He didn't ask for attention. He earned it. Every single second on that court was survival. And when the world finally noticed him, they didn't just clap, they crowned him. From the moment Ja Morant stepped into the NBA, something changed. The league felt faster. Louder. More alive. He wasn't just playing the game, he was rewriting it in real time. Dunks that made the crowd lose their minds. Crossovers that felt personal. Eyes locked in. No fear. No hesitation. But with every cheer, a shadow grew behind him. Fame isn't a light, it's a fire. And the brighter it burns, the more it consumes. People started talking. Ja's the next big thing. He's got that edge. But edge cuts both ways. And somewhere between the endorsements and the MVP chants, something inside him started slipping. Then came the night. The one that changed everything. No press conference. No interview. Just a few seconds on Instagram Live. Loud music. Laughter. Friends. And a flash of a gun. It was like the entire internet froze. The headlines hit within minutes. Ja Morant caught flashing a gun on Live. NBA investigating incident. Morant suspended indefinitely. And just like that, the kid who once danced with joy on the court became a national scandal. People didn't wait for the truth. They built their own. Some called him reckless. Others said he threw away everything. But no one really asked why. Why would someone at the top risk it all in a moment that felt so pointless? Behind the scenes, it wasn't just suspension. It was collapse. Sponsors pulled out. Publicists panicked. The team distanced itself. And Ja? He disappeared. No tweets. No videos. Just silence. But silence doesn't mean peace. It often means war inside. Close friends later admitted he wasn't okay. He wasn't training. He wasn't talking. He was staring at walls, questioning every decision, every headline, every fake friend who vanished when things got rough. This wasn't about a gun. That was just the symptom. The disease was deeper. Fame doesn't come with instructions. Pressure doesn't knock before breaking your door. And at 23, he wasn't just learning how to lead a team, he was trying to survive a spotlight that never turned off. Everyone thought they knew him. The fans. The media. The suits behind the scenes. But none of them saw the weight he was carrying. The need to be perfect. The fear of being a failure. The pain of being judged for one mistake louder than 1,000 victories. And when he tried to apologize, it felt rehearsed. Written by someone else. A press statement. Not a person. Because the truth was, he didn't have the words. How do you explain to millions of people that you lost yourself? That you didn't know who you were without the noise? That being the face of a franchise felt less like a dream and more like a trap? Time passed. The world moved on. Other stories took over. But behind the curtain, something was changing. Not just in the NBA. In him. He wasn't tweeting quotes. He wasn't posting highlights. He was just rebuilding. Quietly. Slowly. Alone. Until one day, a photo appeared. Him. In the gym. No caption. Just focus. Like he was daring the world to doubt him again. Because this time, it wasn't about proving people wrong. It was about remembering who he really was. But what the world didn't know was that his return wasn't going to be just a comeback. It was going to be a test. And the real battle hadn't even begun. They thought the silence meant he was healing. But healing isn't quiet. It screams at night when no one's listening. And Ja? He wasn't just hearing it, he was drowning in it. The workouts came back first. Then the routine. The early mornings. The cold showers. The empty gym at midnight. But something was different. The joy? Gone. The bounce? Still there. But the soul behind it, cracked. Because every time he touched the ball, he wasn't playing anymore. He was proving. Proving to the doubters. To the league. To the city. To the camera. But mostly to himself. They said he had to grow up. So he tried. Media training. Image control. A smile that didn't reach his eyes. Apology tours that felt like punishment. And then came the second blow. Another video. Another gun. Another scandal. The league didn't blink this time. They were waiting. Repeat offender. Unfit for the league. A lost cause. People didn't gasp now. They nodded. Kaha the na. And Ja? He didn't defend himself. Not a tweet. Not a word. He just vanished again. Because now, it wasn't about damage control. It was about survival. In Memphis, the streets still wore his jersey. But whispers replaced cheers. Even in his own city, loyalty was thinning. Not because they didn't love him, but because they didn't understand him. How could a kid with everything keep throwing it away? But no one saw what he saw. No one knew what he was carrying. Behind the scenes, pressure wasn't just coming from the league. It was at home. His father, once his loudest supporter, had gone quiet. The family dinners? Cold. The friends he trusted? Vanished. The people who used to ride with him now watched him from a distance, waiting to see if he would fall or fly. And for the first time in his life, Ja questioned if the court was still home or just a stage. One night, he showed up at an old park in South Carolina. Hoodie on. Alone. Kids recognized him. But they didn't run up. They hesitated. Unsure if they were meeting a legend or a warning. Ja looked at them and said something no one expected. Don't be me. Be better. That wasn't rehearsed. That wasn't scripted. That was a boy who finally realized he wasn't bulletproof. The NBA called again. Another suspension. Longer. Harsher. Career-threatening. Most players don't survive 2 scandals. Let alone back-to-back. Agents started dropping his name from conversations. Brands deleted his photos. Talk shows stopped mentioning him altogether. It was like the league was erasing him in real time. But then came the twist. He didn't beg for forgiveness. He didn't run to the media. He disappeared to a place no one expected. Therapy. Real therapy. No cameras. No PR. Just raw, unfiltered truth. And for the first time, Ja met the version of himself he'd been hiding from all along. The insecure boy who never felt enough. The scared man pretending to be fearless. The superstar who didn't know how to be human. And that changed everything. Because you can't rebuild until you accept you're broken. He stopped chasing headlines. He started chasing peace. And slowly, something shifted. Not in the public eye. In the mirror. He began cutting people out. Not enemies, enablers. He moved in silence. Stopped recording. Started listening. He didn't say he was back. He was becoming someone new. But the NBA didn't forget. And they were watching. Waiting. Because if Ja Morant was going to rise again, it had to be on their terms. Or the arena lights weren't the same anymore. They didn't shine for him, they watched him. Judged him. Measured him. Ja Morant stepped onto the court that night not as a superstar, but as a question mark. Was he still Ja? Or just a memory of who he used to be? The crowd stood silent at first. No roars. No chants. Just anticipation. He wasn't a hero. Not yet. He was a test. And tests? Ja had learned to pass them the hard way. First play. The ball came to him. Time slowed. Old Ja would have flown. Danced in the air like gravity was a myth. But this Ja? He paused. He scanned. He passed. That wasn't weakness. That was control. The crowd didn't cheer yet. But something shifted. A whisper. A hum. Second quarter. A fast break. One defender. Old Ja would have gone flashy. Crossed him, dunked it, stared him down. But this Ja? He laid it in. Simple. Efficient. Grown. By halftime, the scoreboard didn't matter. Everyone was watching one thing. The body language. The focus. The eyes. And for the first time in a long time, there was no anger. No defiance. Just peace. Behind the scenes, he had changed everything. The entourage? Gone. The reckless friends? Replaced with silence. Social media? Deleted. He wasn't living to be seen anymore. He was living to feel real again. The NBA noticed. The commissioner didn't call for punishment this time. He sent an invitation. A private meeting. Not to discipline, but to understand. Ja walked in without a suit. No lawyers. Just honesty. He told them everything. From the fame that came too fast. To the fears that came at night. To the loneliness that nearly consumed him. And when he finished, there was silence. Not because they didn't believe him. Because they finally did. That season wasn't about highlights. It was about habits. Early morning workouts. Reading instead of partying. Speaking at high schools about choices. And most shocking of all? He smiled. A real one. Not for cameras. For himself. And then came the game. Playoffs. Win or go home. Final seconds. Down by one. Ball in Ja's hands. 3 defenders. The old crowd would have shouted, "Take over." But this crowd? They whispered, "Trust yourself." And Ja? He didn't force it. He drove in. The defense collapsed. And in the final second, he passed. The rookie caught it. Shot it. Game winner. Ja didn't jump. Didn't scream. He hugged the rookie. And the arena exploded. Because that wasn't just a play. That was proof. He was back. Not as the old Ja. Not as the rebel. Not as the problem. But as the leader. As the man who fell, broke, healed, and rose. The next day, every sports headline wrote the same thing. Ja Morant didn't just return. He evolved. And the world finally understood. You don't measure greatness by how high you jump. You measure it by how far you rise after hitting rock bottom.